Metroid's soundtrack was composed by Hirokazu Tanaka, credited as Hip Tanaka in-game. It has two versions, one for the NES release in America and one for the Famicom Disk System released in Japan. They're not that different, mostly just reorchestrations for the slightly different hardware. This video will be mainly focused on the NES version of the soundtrack, though if you want to see my more in-depth thoughts on the soundtrack, version differences, and the many official remixes of the soundtrack, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. At 100 views, I'll start working on a deeper analysis of these songs. Without further ado, let's begin. This theme is used by almost every Metroid game, with the exception of Metroid 2 and most of the Prime games. It gives Metroid a unique aura from startup, especially compared to the other NES games of the time, letting you know that you're in for one hell of a ride. The sense of dread from the A section is perfect for the hostile alien world you explore in Metroid. But the B section gives a very hopeful and heroic feeling. Then the C section comes in and gives you one last burst of energy before sending you back into the cold darkness. Just ignore the awkward language of the story paragraph. This little jingle perfectly characterizes Samus from the start. It's so dark and yet it's so hopeful, like a light shining through the darkness. There's a reason every Metroid game uses this fanfare. This is the first song that the average player will hear while playing Metroid. It's meant to ease the player in before they reach more ambient tracks. It's perfect music to shoot the little creatures of Brinstar to, especially because it distracts you from the fact that you only have 30 health. It also gives you a nice sense of adventure while you explore in the early game and find your first few upgrades. This is Metroid's equivalent to the Zelda or Mario theme songs, and yet it isn't reused in other games as much as they are. What I mean is that Brinstar didn't become the main theme of the series like those songs did, probably because Metroid already has a perfect main theme. The first and most ambient track in the game, Item Room really feels alien with its weird arpeggiating percussion and dissonant beeps. Kinda sounds like R2-D2. In context, it's also a song that gives the player a sense of relief and anticipation because they know an item is coming. The walk through the room gives ample time for the player to wonder what the item could be before picking it up, and when they do... There's not much to say about the item fanfare. It's a bit strange that this track was replaced by the item fanfare from Metroid 2, but this version definitely works for this game. It gives a sense of accomplishment, but also a sense that this is only one step forward in your long journey, especially when there's 255 missiles to collect. Once you've collected your first few upgrades in Brinstar, you head down the elevator into Norfair, the fire zone. This track is a lot slower than Brinstar, but is a lot more serious. It feels like you're heading deeper into the planet and you don't really know what you're going to uncover. The extra tension also adds to the feeling of heat within the song, as this is the fire area. It kinda feels like you're drifting through lava on a raft while fighting off the local wildlife. Once you've sufficiently prepared for the road ahead and obtained a few more upgrades, you're ready to head into the first boss area. This is one of the best songs in the soundtrack and everyone knows it. It's very dark and dramatic and tense, but is a lot less ambient than the rest of the tense songs in the soundtrack. It really feels like you're making good progress through the planet Zebus and getting into the Space Pirates base of operations for the first time. The song itself is pretty fast, which keeps you on your toes while fighting stronger enemies and trying not to get lost in this maze with repeating paths, block elevators, and even fake Kraids. But when you finally make it to Kraid, he's not much of a threat if you know how to spam bombs at him. This isn't much of a song, but it works to add tension during one of the last areas of the game. It's actually very similar to Super Mario Bros. Castle theme, though a tiny bit less melodic. It gives you the sense that you're the deepest you will ever get into the planet and that your enemy is waiting for you. The Turian theme is also used for the two bosses in Metroid, Kraid and Ridley. It's very dark and nefarious, and you can hear almost a bubbling sound like lava, which this game is full of. It also serves as a good song for things getting serious in Turian, as you only heard this song for boss fights before, but now it's playing in a regular area. It's one of the first few examples of why do I hear boss music in gaming, and the reason is these bastards. Metroids are tough in this game. They drain your health super quickly and can only be killed with the old Ice Beam plus Missiles combo, the quintessential move of Metroid 1. This song is very similar to Turian. It's very tense, but it emphasizes the lower notes more than Turian and trades the bubbling for this pulsing sound, just like the gross, organic, mechanical mother brain and her Zebatites. It really sounds like you're about to face off with a synthetic living organism, and a sinister one at that. After defeating Mother Brain, you have one last challenge. You have 999 seconds to escape the planet Zebus before it explodes. This is the last melodic song you'll hear during gameplay, and it really gives a sense of urgency, although the B section really emphasizes the elation that comes after beating the final boss, which is some of what Samus and the player must be feeling in this moment. The fact that it's the last melodic track after an area of all dark ambience adds to this feeling as well. You need to get out, but you've kind of already made it there as well. The fact that it's the last melodic track after an area full of dark ambience adds to this feeling as well. You need to get out, but you've kind of already made it there as well. This song is great. It really gives a feeling of satisfaction after a long, dangerous mission. It releases a lot of the tension from the earlier songs and soars around with the sounds of victory. It sounds very similar to the title theme, but with many of the darker elements removed. It really feels like the phrase, "See you next mission."